This is Best Value Q&A, the show where we answer your most pressing questions about project management, procurement, and supply chain management. I'm your host, Jake Cano. Join me as we talk with the founder of the Best Value approach, Dr. Dean Kashiwagi, and we learn his secrets to saving companies millions of dollars in project costs. Let's welcome Dr. Dean.
Thanks for being on the show with us today, Dr. Dean. How are you doing today?
I am fine. Glad to be with you.
Thank you. So today we're talking about the simple questions, some of the high-level questions that people in your network want to know about Best Value. So the first question they have is, what is Best Value approach in your simplest terms?
Well, the Best Value approach is where we take the traditional system where a client is directing a vendor on what to do and telling them, this is exactly what we want done, and then managing, directing, and controlling them to make sure that they actually do it. What the Best Value approach is, it replaces that management, direction, and control with the identification and utilization of expertise.
That makes sense. So what would you say defines expertise?
Expertise can be defined with three characteristics, and it is what experts can do or who they are. So experts can always tell the difference. So this is my left hand. Your right hand looks like, but my left hand. This is my right hand. Experts always know the difference between my left hand and my right hand. Experts can always tell the difference between two objects, two entities, two sets of conditions, two different projects. They can always tell the difference. Characteristic number one. Characteristic number two. They take this being able to tell the difference, and they now say, I can tell the difference between what the conditions are currently and what the conditions will be in the future at the end of my project. They can tell the difference, which means once they can tell that difference, it brings the second characteristic. They can see from the very beginning of the project all the way to the end of the project. So if they can tell the difference, they can actually tell as I move along in my project how the project conditions are changing. The third thing is very important. Experts look around at all the stakeholders who are working with them, and they quickly realize that these stakeholders can't see. They can't tell the difference. They can't see from beginning to the end. Therefore, what the expert must do is make it simple, because if the expert doesn't make it simple, the stakeholders won't understand because they can't see. Now, how does the expert make it simple? We are taking the bare minimum requirement for a human being, which is, we're going to use metrics. For example, a metric is, I am holding one water bottle in my hand. It's not two, it's one. Everyone can agree on that. So a metric will have two requirements. The first, that it's observable, as you can see how many water bottles I'm holding. Secondly, the metric has to be countable, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can assume that the majority of stakeholders can count. To assume that the majority of stakeholders, because they have been in the industry for 20 or 30 years, because they were educated at a major university, because they're a professional, that they can actually go beyond counting something that's observable without, quote, starting to think about it is a very bad assumption. The expert will keep it simple by making sure that everything that he's communicating is observable and countable. That is how they make it simple.
That makes sense. So the
So let's go
expert,
through
yeah,
a
go
brief
ahead.
review of that.
Yeah, please.
An expert, number one, can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, can see into the future. And number three, can make it simple. If somebody perceives that someone else is an expert and they can't do this, they're not actually an expert.
And the best value approach is all about finding and utilizing these experts as much as possible on projects.
It is identifying and utilizing expertise. And the question is always asked, well, how many experts do we always have? And this makes the best value approach even more dominant. Experts are very few. Vendors have to learn how to identify and utilize their expertise so that they can utilize, quote, limited expertise that they have and actually do a lot of work with that expertise. So vendors have to learn how to do this. Expertise isn't everywhere. Because it's so limited, the vendors need to learn how to use their expertise. So you might think that I, as a client, it's my problem that I have to identify and utilize expertise. But it's not the case. This is a vendor issue, that the vendor can identify the limited expertise he has in his own company and utilize it so that, quote, they can produce the output of expertise on a repeated basis. Now, because the expertise is limited, a lot of the, quote, professionals who represent owners are saying, we don't have any experts in our area.
Yeah.
The best value approach does something that no one dreamed it could do. The best value approach can take a group of, quote, non-experts, identify the most qualified, quote, almost expert, and if they simply follow the best value approach in its simplest directions, the best value approach will ensure that the project will end up being very successful, almost as successful as if they actually had an expert doing it. This is what sets the best value approach apart from all the other approaches, from all the other delivery systems, from anything anybody was doing. Because it can take a, quote, non-expert and result in getting expert services.
Wow. So even in areas where there's a lot of innovation or it's a very new field, if there might not be the shining expert, the best value approach can find the person with the most expertise and hire them for the project.
That is correct. There is no such thing as, quote, a project that requires innovation that cannot be done by an expert or somebody using the best value approach.
Wow. So what you're saying is the best value approach isn't just a new delivery system to go along with the others. It's an entire philosophy and approach change for the entire supply chain.
It is a significant paradigm shift. And I didn't realize this when I started this research 25 years ago. I just thought that these people who are representing the clients in the industry, these professionals, were attacking me for maybe they didn't like me. I didn't realize they had an issue with what I was proposing, because what I was proposing was a system that could tell the difference, and their system couldn't do that. So there's no way that the professionals could have utilized performance information.
Wow. So is there any limit to types of projects or companies that could be using the best value approach? Or since this is such a paradigm shift, it really could apply to any type of project?
That is why we started in the construction area. But we quickly moved out of it because we saw that the same thing was going on in every industry.
Wow.
Whether it be construction or personal services or engineering work or design work.
That's incredible.
It didn't matter. It was going on in every industry. And that is why this is really a disruptive technology. So now, if all I can do to help the industry and help others is try to make it simple.
Yeah.
If we don't make this simple, it's going to pass by these professionals because they're not used to being able to tell the difference. They don't know how to use, quote, performance information or the language of metrics. They're used to going to minimum standards. And minimum standards cannot tell the difference.
Wow. That's a huge paradigm shift, but that's incredible.
It is. It's incredible. And we go out there and we can repeatedly do this because we can see into the future. We're actually experts at being able to identify and utilize expertise. We moved from Arizona State University out of a construction program that was under engineering, that was, quote, using the professionals and how the professionals saw things. And we moved it to the Schema Business School and the project management program, where now they could see the value of a project manager in the future who could actually tell the difference, who could actually utilize automation, who could actually take, quote, the existing conditions and what is there and utilize one person instead of 10. Identify who can tell the difference, who can see from beginning to end, and who can make it simple so that it minimizes the need for 90% of all the humanistic functions that went along with someone's cognitive behavior to solve the problem, their thinking and decision making. This is truly profound.
It really is. Well, there you have it, everybody. The future of delivery of services is being able to understand and utilize expertise wherever you go. Thank you so much for joining us this week, Dr. Dean. Next time we get on, we'll be talking about how somebody can begin to implement or how they can start to understand and utilize best value in their company. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel for more content. If you have any questions about the best value approach or for Dr. Dean, leave them in the comment section below and we'll get to them in a later video. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.